I would visualize the best and worst case scenarios, whether I get disqualified or my goggles fill up with water. I'm ready for anything. Michael Phelps, 23 gold medals, the most decorated Olympian in the history of the Olympic Games. Full stop. So what's the secret? Was he born with gills? Did he eat chlorine for breakfast? No. Here's what Phelps actually said changed everything for him. He trained almost every day for 6 years, rarely taking full days off, building consistency most people never reach. Now, before you say, that sounds miserable, that's exactly the point. His coach, Bob Bowman, said that the kids who make it aren't the ones who love the glory. They're the ones who fall in love with the process. The boring 5 a.m. wake-ups, the 80,000 meters a week in the pool, the same drills over and over. Here's the takeaway you can actually use. Most people quit when it stops feeling exciting. Winners build systems that keep them going even when excitement is gone. So whatever your goal is, write a novel, build a business, learn guitar, ask yourself, can you fall in love with the daily, boring action, not just the dream version of winning? Because Michael Phelps didn't love swimming every single day, but he did it anyway. And that is the actual superpower. I say put mental health first because if you don't, then you're not going to enjoy your sport and you're not going to succeed as much as you want to. Simone Biles, 4-time Olympic gold medalist, considered the greatest gymnast of all time. The woman has a move named after her that's so dangerous, other gymnasts aren't even allowed to attempt it competitively. But the advice she's most famous for now? Walking away. At the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, which happened in 2021, don't ask, Simone Biles withdrew from multiple events. Mid-competition, on the world's biggest stage, the internet lost its mind. Half the people called her a quitter, the other half called her a hero. But here's what Simone actually said. She had the twisties. That's a gymnastics term for when your mind and body disconnect mid-air. You lose track of where you are in space, during a vault, at 15 feet off the ground. Continuing would have been genuinely life-threatening. She said, "We have to protect our mind and our body rather than just going out there and doing what the world wants us to do." Here's the lesson. Pushing through pain is sometimes strength, but knowing the difference between productive struggle and actual destruction, that's a higher-level skill most people never develop. The real advice is this. When you're running on empty, performing for the approval of others at the cost of yourself, that's not resilience. That's self-abandonment wearing a brave face. Check in with yourself regularly, not just when you're broken. Know your limits so you can push them intelligently instead of just blindly. Usain Bolt. 3 Olympics, 8 gold medals. The fastest human being ever recorded, and possibly the most joyful athlete to ever compete at anything. If you've seen him race, you know the move. The guy is celebrating before he even crosses the finish line. He's waving at the cameras mid-sprint. He's doing his lightning bolt pose while everyone else is still gasping for air. Was that arrogance? Nope. Here's what Bolt said. "I trained hard. I knew what I was capable of, so I was relaxed." Most people think confidence is something you feel first and then act on. Bolt is proof it works the other way around. You do the work obsessively, and confidence becomes a natural byproduct. It's not something you hype yourself into. It's something you earn through reps. He also said that one of his biggest advantages was that he genuinely enjoyed competing. He didn't see races as threats. He saw them as chances to show off something he'd spent years perfecting. The takeaway? Stop trying to feel confident before you're ready. Instead, get so prepared that confidence becomes the only logical response. And then enjoy it. Let it be fun. The joy is not the enemy of the grind, it's the reward for it. A champion is defined not by their wins, but by how they recover when they fall. You have to believe in yourself when no one else does. Technically, Serena is a Grand Slam champion, not strictly an Olympian. But she has 4 Olympic gold medals, so she absolutely counts. Serena Williams is arguably the greatest tennis player of all time, regardless of gender. And almost nobody wanted her to be. From the beginning, Serena faced doubt at every corner. People doubted her because of where she came from, because of how she looked, because she was too aggressive, too loud, too powerful. Tennis commentators spent decades trying to explain why she shouldn't be winning. And here's the thing, she heard all of it. She wasn't immune to self-doubt either. She had losses, bad ones. She had a life-threatening health scare after giving birth. She came back anyway. In interviews, Serena has said that every time someone told her she couldn't, she used it. Not to prove them wrong, that was just a bonus. She used it because it fired her up. It sharpened her focus. The advice. External doubt is only as powerful as the internal space you give it. You can either treat skepticism as evidence that you should stop, or you can treat it as information that you're doing something worth doubting. Most extraordinary things were called impossible first, every single one. Only the disciplined ones in life are free. If you are undisciplined, you are a slave to your moods and your passions. Eliud Kipchoge, Kenyan marathon runner, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, the first human being to ever run a marathon in under 2 hours, not in a race, in a controlled experiment called the Ineos 159 Challenge. But still sub 2 hours for 26.2 miles. Kipchoge is known as the philosopher of running, and his most famous insight is almost unsettling in how simple it is. No human is limited. He genuinely believes, and has proven, that the mind is the first thing to give up, not the body. Physical limits exist, sure, but most people never get anywhere near them because their mind quits first. The discomfort feels like danger, but it's usually just discomfort. Kipchoge trains with the same group, eats together, lives communally at a training camp in Kaptagat, Kenya. He logs every session in a diary. He talks about running like it's a spiritual practice. He says, only the disciplined ones in life are free. That when you master your schedule, your habits, your mind, you stop being a slave to your moods. The takeaway here is massive. Your biggest competitor isn't the person next to you. It's the version of you that gives up 5 minutes before the breakthrough. Learn to distinguish between, I'm actually hurt, and I'm just uncomfortable. Then keep going through the uncomfortable parts more often than you currently do. Set goals that, when you set them, you think they're impossible. Katie Ledecky has won more individual world championship titles than most swimmers in history, male or female. She doesn't just win, she wins by margins that make scientists uncomfortable. She's talked about never racing her competitors. She races the water. She races the clock. She races her own previous best. Other people in the pool are essentially irrelevant to her process. In practical terms, this is about internal versus external metrics for success. When you measure yourself against others, you're playing a game with rules you don't control. Someone else gets better, you feel worse. Someone else has a bad day, you feel falsely great. Your sense of progress becomes dependent on external things that fluctuate randomly. But when you measure yourself against yourself, your last time, your last attempt, your previous best, you always have something meaningful to chase. Katie Ledecky also talks about the power of specificity in goal setting. Not, I want to swim faster, but I want to be at the 400-meter wall at this exact split time. Detailed, measurable, yours. The lesson. Define your own lane. Literally and figuratively. Stop letting the performance of people around you dictate how you feel about your own progress. Set personal benchmarks. Measure yourself against them obsessively. Show up to beat yesterday's version of you. There is no way around hard work. Embrace it. You have to put in the hours because there's always something which you can improve. Roger Federer. 20 Grand Slam titles. Olympic gold medalist. considered the most elegant athlete in any sport by a lot of very serious people. In his now famous Dartmouth commencement speech, Federer revealed something that broke a lot of people's brains. In his entire professional career, he won 80% of his matches. Sounds amazing, right? But get this, he won only 54% of the points he ever played, barely more than half the individual points, and he's considered the greatest of all time. Why does this matter? Because it shows that failure is baked into success at the highest level. If Roger Federer loses nearly half of every point he plays and still dominates, your occasional mess-up is not the catastrophe your brain is making it. He said, when you lose every second point on average, you learn not to dwell on it. Federer's real superpower was his reset time, the seconds between a lost point and the next serve. Short, ruthless, no self-pity. The practical lesson: stop treating every setback like it defines you. Pros fail constantly. They just don't make it mean something permanent. Develop a fast reset. Accept that the scoreboard of life is mostly made up of recoveries, not perfect moments. Hard work has made it easy. That is my secret. That is why I win. In 1976, at 14 years old, Romanian gymnast Nadia Comaneci scored the first perfect 10 in Olympic gymnastics history. The scoreboard literally couldn't show it. It displayed 1.00 because nobody had programmed in the possibility of perfection. She went on to score 7 perfect 10s at those games. Nadia has talked about the fact that she didn't train to get a perfect 10. She trained to perform her routine perfectly. The score was just the result of doing what she'd practiced thousands of times before. Her coach, Bela Caroli, was intensely demanding. And Nadia's advice about that is surprisingly nuanced. She says the high standards set for her created the belief that excellence was normal. Not exceptional, normal. When your environment treats excellence as the baseline, you rise to match it. The lesson: surround yourself with people and environments that normalize high standards. Not toxic pressure, but the quiet expectation that doing your best is just what you do. And don't set your ceiling based on what's been done before. Someone has to do the new thing first. It might as well be you. 8 Olympians, 8 lessons. One common thread. The work is the point. If this helped, hit subscribe and comment your thoughts below. More videos to come.